question everything, trust nothing, except for your boy, CryptoKeeper. Hopefully everybody is doing well. Sorry, literally world's fastest bathroom break during the 60 seconds that I had. And yes, I even washed my hands. All right, cool. Crypto fam, glad that you are here. It is Friday. I got a great guest backstage, somebody that I have missed dearly. Love having him on the show. It's been a while since he's been on. I'm going to bring him up in just a second. Fam, if you have not already, on your way in, smash those likes, follow, or make sure that you have on the bell notification, and follow this guest if you have not already. Listen, he has, I believe, very quickly surpassed your boy Keeper here in the last few months. I was just kind of peeking on his YouTubes, and he has been killing it. So it's none other than Bill Noble. Bill, what's up, brother?
Hi, thanks for having me, man. Good to be back.
Dude, I'm glad to have you. You used to come on all the time. I know we got a lot of moving parts. Everybody's got a million different things going on. I'm freaking on vacation, and you've got stuff going on, and you're a Patreon and for your channel, and it's like everybody's all over the place. But I've been thinking about you, man. I'm glad that you're here. So let's kick it off. Let me jump into the chat real quick and say hi, and then I want to ask you a few things that you got going on personally. All right, who's first? Yep, that's it. Caffeinated Crypto. Caffeinated Crypto, as always. Cheers. I got my Marine Corps inspired coffee again today. Glad to see you in the house. Glad that you're here. Who else we got? French Toaster in the house. We got Enrique Suave, Patriot Caveman. He said, yo, brother, FYI, there are 6 solar flares coming tonight. Oh, you already know Bill Noble's all over that one. We're going to definitely jump in on that. Also said, yo, Notorious, my 2 favorites. So we love you guys. All right, let's kick it off. So, Bill, what is new with you, dude? It's been a few months since I've had you on. Talk to me and the people that are on the show. What have you been up to?
Okay, well, I got the channel moving, as you noted, the YouTube channel.
That. Yeah, congrats.
Thank you. I think the powers that be in the algorithm decided that when the Bitcoin ETF came out, they wanted us Wall Street boomers talking to people about it.
I wish I could move towards that, because I'm losing followers every single day as other channels are gaining, and I haven't figured it out, but I'm going to.
All right. Well, I mean, your view, question everything, trust nothing, as I'm sure if you watch any news, has gone mainstream. One of the best predictions I've ever made. However, let's just refer to it as these algorithms like it. They like it 1950s Disney. Yeah. Right. So, the one thing about you is I think you can say you're not 1950s Disney, and good for you. Yeah. Right. Because, one day we're going to one day is here. Yeah. I also opened up Patreon. So, everything that you can't say on certain social medias, I'm definitely saying in Patreon.
What does that look like? So let's say somebody's on here and they're like, man, I love what Bill has to say. What does your Patreon look like? Like, what are you actively doing over there? Are you doing actual like video stuff? Are you doing analysis? Are you doing deep dive? Like, what kind of stuff are you doing?
Okay, so we're doing all of the above.
Okay.
Right. In other words, we have a low monthly membership of like $15.
Okay, cool.
And then we have and that gets you like what I call the 6th Street Crypto Podcast, because I'm out of Austin. So podcast, charts, I call it altcoin overtime. And then what we have is we have custom reports in a shop, right? So instead of charging people $100, we're charging people $15. Then they can buy what altcoin reports they like by sector. Layer ones. I just did the political tokens in the Fed.
We're going to talk about that today.
Best thing I ever did. Where is everybody? Right?
I got to figure out the balancing act, Bill, of like being able to have the conversations that I want to have without getting in trouble. And I think, honestly, this is not me using an excuse for lack of growth, but I genuinely believe that some of the What If Wednesday stuff and some of the deeper dives onto some of the Alex Jones type, conversations on the channel have not been good for overall growth, over time. So I'm trying to figure out what that balancing act looks like, because I need to be able to grow. Obviously, over here on YouTube, you can get away with some stuff on X, but even on X, I feel like there's some questionable stuff going on as per growth, depending on what you put out there. But you're saying on your Patreon, hey, it's a paid thing. You can say and do whatever you want to do, right?
Right. Yeah. On Patreon, I'm just letting it. I just let it rip. Right. I mean, you have to keep any thumbnail graphics chill, but that's easy enough to do.
Okay.
Right. So I think, this model that we have, sometimes, sometimes people want to pay one price, but we're trying to help the little guy. Now, as far as what's happening with you, look, man, I think 12 months from now, people are going to remember who told them the truth. Honestly. So
it's the reason I don't back off of it, because I can't
Right.
sacrifice like who I am and the things that I believe that ultimately are going to help the people that are watching. That's how I look at it. Like, why am I going to be somebody else?
Yeah. And followers, it's vanity, right? Like, I gave BlackRock a ton of free marketing by talking about the Bitcoin ETF. I mean, of course, I'm helping people get into the space. Right. But, who was ultimately paying for the algorithm to goose my content, right?
Yeah, that's true.
At the end of the day, I think people needed the Bitcoin education. So it's not that I'm unhappy about it, but at the end of the day, man, question everything, trust nothing. I mean, that was, oh, really? 2 years ago. Now it's like, oh, well,
yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And Enrique's right. Fiat's turning the frogs gay. So I'm right with you, Enrique.
Yeah.
We have no idea what's going on out in this crazy world right now. Oh, well, dude. Okay. So let me just ask one more thing about the Patreon. I have this true story, never been on Patreon before. So does it end up, and again, guys, none of this is like paid. I'm asking Bill because I'm curious. Is it its own platform where like you're actually creating content specifically over on a platform that people are paying for, or like does it integrate another platform? How does that work? I really don't know.
Okay, well, Patreon is cool in the sense that, it's its own platform. You can join my free section. So you've got to have a login password to go into the Patreon universe, just like, say, Twitter.
Okay. Yeah.
Then once you're there, you can subscribe to creators. Now, what's cool about it for me is that it allows me to put a video and then post 6 charts underneath it. And so you got a video with a thumbnail and 6 charts underneath it. So you can do, like Twitter almost. You can do video and text.
And text
at the same time. Nice. And, it looks snazzy in your phone.
Nice. Okay.
So,
I'll have to check that out.
And again, Patreon wants you to sell. They want you to sell product. Right. So unless you're doing something,
because they're taking a piece of the action.
That's right. Yeah. So unless you're doing something, frankly, irresponsible,
hate-filled or whatever.
Yeah. You're doing something, that's not business.
Yeah.
They want you to do well.
Okay.
It seems
cool.
like.
I might have to check that out. Maybe I can pivot a little bit on some of the stuff over here and do it a little bit differently over there. I might have to check that out. Let me jump back into the chat real quick. Hey, Keeper, Bill does a lot of YouTube shorts. You may want to try doing those. So, Nikki, one of the things that I was talking about with multiple people as per growth, the thing that I know I fail at, and I'm changing now, is that I can't rely on my live streams for growth. And I have literally like lived and died on my live streams too much. Like I just haven't been doing other content and I think the algorithm does love, and that is my fault. I think the algorithm does love you doing pre-recorded content, whether it's shorts, whether it's, 3 to 5 minute, whether it's a 10-minute, whether it's an AMA. That's something that I'm really going to dive hard on now to see, what effects that has. Bill, you're doing a live stream every day, right? Or are you doing it a couple times a week?
Well, I'm doing it 3 days a week.
3 days a week.
That's about right.
Okay.
Because
cool.
the stream will live for 2 days.
Okay.
You know what, man? And this is the other thing that benefited me. Because, I'm over the age of 35 and I'm not a CapCut video editing guy.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, the stick the phone in your face, be super real and just talk.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Stick the camera in your face, talk for 60, post it.
Yeah.
They're not rewarding you for editing. Mean, right. So that's what I was doing. And and it was like, meh, that kept the channel alive.
Right.
But dude, when that thing was running, I mean, let's do it this way. YT wants what TT has. TikTok.
Yeah, for sure.
They, so YouTube wants 3 shorts a day. TikTok wants live streams and 3-minute videos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, I got in the right space at the right time, but, make no mistake about it, Keep, I was adding, I had to go at like 10 followers per week for a year and a half just to get the 4K.
Dude, it's a grind, man. It is. I think a lot of people think that, you know the right people or get the right people on the channel. I'll tell you this. I bring, everybody's seen, I've brought the biggest of big people on here. I'm good friends with everybody. Like, I'm cool, whatever. It only helps in little spurts, right? You'll bring somebody on the channel and maybe you'll get 50 new subs or even 100 new subs or something like that, right? And then and it just cools right back off. And it's like, man. So I commend you for pushing through it, because it is a freaking grind and there's work involved. It is not, it's not an easy business.
Right,
I know
there's no overnight. They do reward, like the reason something good happened for me is because I believe that I had the right content and the right style at the right time, but I'd also been there for a year.
Yeah.
Right. If I was a brand new channel, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
You have to, it's like MMA. You got to embrace the grind.
You've got to get into it. Yeah. So Crypto Fam, if you're not already following Bill Noble, I've got his link down below and I'm going to post his Patreon as well. If you guys are interested in that, you guys can check that out. Let me jump over and let's check out the market caps. Obviously you guys are here to not just listen to Bill and I reminisce and have a little bro sesh here. We're going to actually talk about crypto. Let me pull up the charts and see what is going on. Actually, I'm not going to pull up the chart yet. I'm going to pull up the crypto market cap and see what's going on over on CoinGecko. So the global market cap is at, let me zoom in here, 2.3933 trillion. I almost said billion. That would be bad. Trillion with a T dollars. That's down 0.9%. Now, guys, we're going to talk about it in a minute, but we had a massive dump a little while ago. We'll get into that here in a few minutes. But Bitcoin's at 60,801. ETH 2907, down about 4.5% on the week. So we're kind of bleeding a little bit there. BNB was creeping on 600. It's back down to 584. Solana has that $150 mark is going to be, it is and has been a magnet. And Bill and I were talking before the stream. Solana, albeit not my favorite of the bunch, I believe is going to be one of those we're going to look back on and say, damn, I could have bought that at $150. I believe that's going to be one of those plays. It's definitely going to be one that people are going to look back on. And then this is the big one, Bill. I don't know, if you've heard this from me or not, but I have been preaching from the rooftops about Toncoin. And Toncoin just does what Toncoin does. It's up 23.5% on the week. There is so much happening. So you were just talking about Patreon, right? And one of the things, since you and I have been getting together, in the past few months that I've been going heavier on is Telegram. I've got some Telegram group that I'm part of. It's part of what introduced me into some of the more of the real deep, heavy meme coin space, to have a fundamental understanding of what's happening in the gambling side of crypto. And the reality is the charts in the meme coins, and we're going to talk about these in a little bit, they really are controlled by what's happening over on Telegram. And now Telegram with Notcoin and what Telegram basically creating one-click money, guys, you cannot ignore it. Toncoin is showing you and has been showing you since I've been talking about it at $2. It was at $7 last night. It's been up as high as almost $8. This is absolutely ripping, and I think it's going to. Do you hold any Ton, Bill?
I don't have any Ton, but I did take your advice in one of your shorts where you said, hey, get outside your box. I dove into Base.
Yes.
Boomers, because Coinbase Wallet has a fiat on-ramp and off-ramp to allow you to use Base.
Yep.
So I went in the Base direction, figuring you had Ton handled for the universe. But dude, it's on the list. It's on the list, man. And
well, dude, listen, you can't. I had somebody messaging me last night that has made hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in memes, right? And he texted me, he sent me a text, and he said, hey, bro, how the heck do I buy Ton? Right. And so when that question is being asked by someone that's been in the space that has done very well in meme coins, I think it's encouraging. And I'll tell you why. If Ton is doing what it's doing, and you've got big names that have done a lot in the space asking you how to buy it, just wait until you can just freaking jump on Coinbase and buy it. Right. Like, it's not available like that. You either have to bridge to get it, or you got to go on something like MEXC and do a spot trade for USDT or whatever. And for people that are newer to crypto, they don't fully understand how to do that, right? They want to do exactly what you're saying. They want to jump on an exchange. I want to be able to put money on. I want to be able to take money off and just, do the little one-click thing. So at the point that happens, good God, I'm interested to see how far some of these go. So
right. One thing I tell people is the stuff that goes up, the stuff that everyone hates, the stuff that's hard to buy, right? And the stuff no one understands.
Yep.
Con could be all three.
Yeah,
right.
I totally
Especially
agree.
that part where it's hard to buy it. Like nobody knew how to buy Polkadot and Kusama last cycle. Kusama went to 500, Dot went to 50.
Yep. It's definitely a reality that when they simplify things or things get the exposure that they deserve, it just does nothing but what it was intended to do, and it will do well. Also, Caspa, I've been mining Caspa now for a little while now, and that's been doing fantastic for me as well. That's a whole nother discussion. We are going to talk about some of that today. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to pull up a chart, and then I want to hear, Bill, from you what you're seeing with the charts right now. I'm going to give my little analysis, and then we'll see from you what you're thinking. Let me tell you about what we're going to talk about today. I put on the thumbnail mailbox money. I've been talking about this a lot recently. I think that people too often are trying so hard to do everything to make money in terms of putting in like all of this work. Now, does hard work pay off? Yes, it does. Am I telling you not to work hard? No, I'm not. I'm telling you that if you have 100 other things going on, or 10 different things going on, or 5 different things going on, like I've got multiple businesses going on, I'm scattered. So what do I want? I want a way to earn passive income. I want a way to where I can do something maybe on the front end, spend a little bit of time, a little bit of investigation, a little bit of money, and then the mailbox money is coming in. So we're going to talk about mailbox money today. We're going to talk about some meme coins, specifically some of the political meme coins and what we kind of think we see a future with that. So strap in. It is going to be a fun stream. And Biomex, I see you, brother. Good to see you. He is excited to see both myself and you, Bill. Biomex is a good friend of the channel. Love you, bro. Glad that you're here. All right, let me show you my TA, Bill. I've been working hard on doing a little better in the trading space, and actually been profitable, believe it or not. So I'm on the 15-minute chart over on Bitcoin here. I've been pulling a lot of volume profiles. I've been looking at a little bit zoomed out time frame. I've got one from all the way back on Tuesday all the way through today. We have the value area low all the way down at 58.7. I've been talking to people a lot about that 58 to 61K numbers being very, very important and holding that level, okay? The value area low over the last week is going to be about 58.7. We have the point of control over the last week all the way up at 63, which, look, if we zoom in here, right, what did we do? Well, damn, we just about freaking touched it, and just about touched it again over here before the dump this morning. Okay, now we zoom in a little bit further. From the last day, my volume profiles, we're looking at 62.3, which we nuked straight down through. Then we nuked through the point of control at 61.4. And here's an interesting thing. I'm going to draw a little ray here. Right here, right about where we are at right now is going to be a place where that intersects with my trend line coming through here. And I'm interested to see, are we going to pull back up into the trend that I have? We're oversold on the prime oscillators. We've got a green dot on the 15-minute on Market Cipher B and a green arrow over on the high IQ oscillator. Those three things would tell me that right now we might have a little bit of bullish momentum coming our way. But I just want to finish by saying I think that this 60K number, we're at 60,859. I think this 60K number is going to be really important to hold. Bill, you've been doing this a lot longer than me. You are a genius, a savant in the trading space. Talk to me. What are you seeing?
Okay. What I want to do is I want a DCA on 6 dumps that occur between now and the end of June. Okay. In other words, everybody in the beginning was like, I missed it. And now I'm like, you haven't. And people are too scared to buy. It's called I call it the spoon experience, to keep it clean. Right. Everybody after a crash, every time it goes down, like today, everyone's afraid of the falling spoon. They're like, huh. Okay. But that's the time where because that's what's worked in the past. Now, I mean, if you just look at some like basic stuff, right? Like this Bitcoin 90-minute that I pulled up here on the PowerPoint. Right. They nuke it to support at 60. Maybe they take it below that, but you're in a box between 60 and 64. Everyone's buying the top and selling the bottom in these markets. Guys like Magic Internet Money that, they're selling the resistance and they're buying the support, and everyone else is doing the opposite, thinking it's a trend. It probably won't be a trend for, a couple of, I don't know, maybe a month or two. Now, Solana, this is different. We saw it with Avalanche once. I've seen it with Phantom. Sometimes these layer ones can become one coin markets. You can have a market that's in a slump, but you can have one coin that's moving. Now for you, that's the TON coin, possibly, right? Also, I think Solana at 150.
Okay.
Right? You know, Solana is hitting like a couple different trend lines on short-term charts. I think it's also hitting a trend line on long-term charts, like a daily chart. And again, if they're giving you Solana between, I don't know, say 160 and 120, where's that going to be in a year? Now, let's talk about Doge. Musk is accepting Doge in the Tesla store. Consensus in Austin is coming up, right? And you got to ask yourself, one guy on Twitter said this, how long is the market going to give you to accumulate some of these positions before they take off and some of these, like, say, memes or other things like Solana or TON start becoming money? According to you, TON is already money on Telegram. Yeah. This is a head and shoulders bottom forming in Doge. So
where did you say he's accepting it?
He's accepting it at the Tesla store.
You're saying I could go in and buy a Tesla with Dogecoin?
I don't know if you can buy a full Tesla, but you can buy other things from Tesla at the Tesla store. I mean, that's why Doge took off here and, you know, and basically went from 12 to 18, and now it's coming off. Now, when you have a head and shoulders bottom, you know, it's 3 attempts to take the market lower. Okay. When that third attempt occurs, right, where the bears are like, oh, I'm pushing it down, and the bulls resist, that's where the bears start changing their mind. And that's where it can reverse. And my thinking is, like I said, it's not a bull market until you can buy a dip and make money. But if you look at the way this market kind of drops out of nowhere, it's giving you a chance. And again, you're never going to figure out if it's a bull market. You're not going to know it from me. Not going to know it from anybody. You got to figure it out for yourself. So, you know, and then if you look at Solana versus Bitcoin, just this like monthly chart I have, you know, if you went back to FTX, Solana broke down versus Bitcoin, stayed broke for 6 months and then fell apart. Yep. Now it's the opposite. Markets love symmetry. Solana outperforms. It sits for 6 months. And then Solana can then turn around and possibly outperform Bitcoin as Bitcoin consolidates for a couple of months. So, you know, and then there's the other thing to remember about silver, right? Precious metals did nothing while crypto rallied. Now crypto's doing nothing while precious metals are rallying. Yeah. Just a brief reminder, based on some statistical stuff I did a while ago, Ethereum does good when silver and gold go up and the dollar goes down. And I don't know if anybody followed the political developments of the orange man in a yellow tie from Florida the other day, but he happens to own Ethereum. Okay. Yeah. And it's safe to say, I think, that all these regulators that are currently there, barring some black swan, the current regulatory regime around crypto is going to change. In 12 months from now, you're going to have an ETH ETF. Yeah. So everyone's like, you know, ETH's down 4% below 3,000 as we speak. That's below where it was before FTX happened. So you're saying that people are looking an opportunity dead in the eyes and walking away from it by not at least looking at saying, hey, how can I use a strategy such as dollar cost averaging? If even when I'm unsure of the market, I could do little pieces, parts. It doesn't have to be me aping in my whatever the whole amount of bag that I've got sitting there ready to use. Is that effectively what you're saying? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In other words, the best time to start DCA is like after the crash. Like let the crash happen. Yeah. And then any additional capitulation, you just slowly scoop it up. You don't want to DCA from the top, DCA after it's come down. And like I said, I think this price action has hurt people so bad. It was like the DeFi crash back in 2020. Remember that? DeFi summer all the way back down. And then it was just, I mean, that was brutal. And then what happens is when people get euphoric and then they get depressed, they don't think, which is why you have shows like this. Yeah. They, you know, ultimately the price action, whether anyone wants to admit this or not, the price action in all of these markets can be manipulated from the top working its way down. And so now one of the things that I've seen, and I've talked about this a little bit, is that we have this ETF. So they have publicly said, hey, Bitcoin's the real deal. Okay.
The thing is that I see that was maybe possibly the reason why we keep getting some of these pullbacks, other than just the fact that, hey guys, it's crypto, right? You need to be prepared for that. There's going to be volatility. It is a risk on asset of the highest degree. So be prepared for that, right? But other than that, crypto took off around the news of the ETF so fast. We got an all-time high before even the ETF and then some. There has to be, in my estimation, at least in the past, a time frame of consolidation. Like there needs to be time for, so for example, BlackRock, they've got a lot of new people that are coming in to the markets. They have to effectively sell that to people that otherwise maybe don't know crypto. And so is it harder or easier for the average investor to understand the idea of, hey, this asset has been all the way up here and it's right here right now. We believe that it's going to go a lot higher than even the all-time high that it was. Is that easier? Or is it easier to be at an all-time high and say, guys, this is high it's ever been, but you got to get it. You got to get it, right? And ultimately what I'm saying is these pullbacks, especially on large numbers of dollars, are huge for institutions that are putting millions, hundreds of millions, billions of dollars in, because a 4% swing on $1 billion, right, is $40 million. That is massive, right? And so I think that they're going to use these opportunities to play with, and I talked about this for the last year, because they are truly, truly here. I think that they are going to play with these markets and try to chop people up. The opportunity is there for them to make their money on getting some chop, drop, run, chop, drop, run, chop, drop, run. And they can play these games. They do it over in the stock market. Correct, Bill?
Correct. You know, BlackRock was having a huge institutional investor conference as this market was hitting a selling climax at the start of May.
Yeah.
People in equities like the institutions, they've been paid to buy dips for 15 years over there.
Yeah.
So, you know, every time it dips, they're going to come in. Now, you know, retail probably prefers to FOMO in, but you also have to remember that
that's lack of education, though.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And, you know, on the institutional side, you know, they know that they've got so much time because, you know, they may be getting in, like you said, they may be getting in hundreds of billions eventually. All right. And people's 401k, their plans are going to want it. I mean, you know, is there any upside left in the big tech companies? I mean, they're collectively in the US, I looked it up before the show, they're worth 12 trillion. 12 trillion.
$12 trillion. And now another category that we'll talk about a little bit is RWAs, real world assets, right? And so now crypto is saying, hey, we've got all this traditionally illiquid markets like real estate, for example. Let's open up the playing field, right? This idea of real world assets opens up the playing field to the average person. Because if I want to buy a house right now, I've got to have 20% or more, depending on if it's an investment or not, right? To be able to put down on it. My credit has got to be at a certain level. Now, take that out of the ball game, tokenize the same piece of real estate, and you're giving the ability for people to buy pieces, parts of, and be a part of a market that they otherwise would not be able to. And so I think that we're going to see, as they tokenize the stock market, I think that that is going to be where we are headed. And so I agree, the opportunities are staring everybody in the face. What's your game plan to take advantage of it? That's really what it comes down to. What's your investment thesis, and how are you going to attack these markets? Because I believe that no matter whether this is a shortened bull market, lengthened bull market, if we go into a super cycle, whatever the case may be, I know in my soul that people are going to look back and kick themselves harder than they possibly could. And trust me, I've done it. I've bought Bitcoin at $3,800 and I still kick myself for not buying a shitload more, right? Like I had the opportunity to continue to buy more ETH, more Bitcoin, right? And I think that people are going to look back on some of these opportunities, and it seems like 60K is a high number to pay for Bitcoin right now. But I think looking back, we're going to say, damn, what was I thinking? And probably including myself. You know, my average entry is so much lower than this that I have a hard time buying it right now. I just do. But I just know it when I have the opportunities, you know, that I'll probably look back and say, probably could have made some smarter decisions in a couple different areas of my, you know, investment thesis. So I'm looking forward to see where these markets go. Let me ask you this, Bill, before we dive into some other topics, talk about some mailbox money and some meme coins and whatnot. Do you see with the political landscape happening right now, that for what we're seeing right now, do you see that changing the length of time that these markets go, as it were, with, you know, the length of time as a normal bull market versus kind of where we're at right now?
Okay, I think the Bitcoin ETF, and I think eventually the ETH ETF, is going to create kind of a stock market style price action, crypto version, you know, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, perhaps for a more extended period of time. So the pullbacks could still be 30%.
Right.
But this 2021 thing where it's all the way up, all the way down, I don't see any more of that.
Yeah.
Right. Because the fact of the matter is institutions have to own it. Real world assets, as you noted, is real, because half or more than half of legacy is painfully illiquid. Right. And interest rates are coming down. Debt levels are absurd. And we're going to need a new form of money.
Yep.
And probably we're going to need tech, you know, outside the current regime, as I call it, technology.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you add up those factors and you add up that, you know, I don't know, tech alone is worth 12 trillion and all of crypto is worth 2.5.
We got a long way to go.
We got a long way to go.
We got a long way to go. I think the only thing that I do see that obviously makes me nervous, but I will ultimately use it as an opportunity, assuming that I have dry powder on the sides, which I usually try to, would be some sort of a wild black swan event. And there's nothing that you can do to avoid that. If it happens, it happens. But again, I'll push back on the fact that the best thing I ever did was buying the COVID dip. Buying the hell out of the COVID dip was the best thing I ever did, right? Because if the world's going to end, it doesn't matter where my money's at, right? Like if it's actually going to end, things are over. Oh, we're all in shambles, whatever. Does it matter that I, you know, aped into more Bitcoin? No, it's going to matter how many freedom seeds I have, how much food I have, right? We've talked about this with the DCA fam, right? We ultimately, that prepping side of things is what we're doing monetarily in the crypto space. But if things do go to hell in a handbasket, your food and your protection and your safety is going to be more important than how much Bitcoin you hold on a hardware wallet at that point, you know? So,
right. You may need crypto to pay for things one day. And as you noted, trouble doesn't make an appointment.
Yeah.
So if there was ever a problem, you know, I think if there was ever a swan, you know, maybe it's the ATM machine suddenly doesn't work, or you can't do a withdrawal for whatever reason. Right.
Yeah.
You know, you have to ask yourself, you know, when you think about the next, say, 10 years, you know, like the politics can be markets friendly for 4, but what about the next 10?
Yeah.
The better you get at using anything from, you know, MetaMask, Phantom, you know, Toncoin, you know, just now is like, it's training, it's practice.
Yeah. And you know, I'm glad you said that. I've talked about this as well, but you know, for so long, and I was guilty of this, I was just like buying and holding crypto, but not actively participating, I'll say, in utilizing my skill set in crypto, right? Like there was so much time that I was just buying and holding. And if you asked me to go bridge something, if you asked me to go do anything other than, hey, jump on, you know, jump on Coinbase and buy this, and then, you know, transfer it over here, send it from one wallet to the other. If you asked me to do a lot outside of that, it would have taken me some time, right? But I will tell you that the more and more that I've actively engaged in these crypto markets, the more and more I've been able to take advantage of things. I'll give you an example. Coinbase, they have, and I don't remember how, I might fumble this a little bit, but I'll give you the overall idea. Basically, when you need to go from a stable coin or ETH or whatever back to cash, there was a time, and I don't know if they're still doing this, but where they would do it with no fees if it was USDC. But if it was USDT, there was a hefty little fee attached to it. So one day I was trying to convert, cashing out a little bit, and I had USDT sitting in my wallet, and I went boom, and I previewed the transaction, and it was like $80 to do what I wanted to do. And I was like, damn, let me just check something real quick. And I was like, how much is it if I flip from USDT to USDC? It was free. Then I said, okay, preview. And I previewed the USDC and it was free. And I was like, wait a minute, right? Those are the type of things that if you're actively using crypto, you can start to take advantage of having that knowledge and understanding of different opportunities that are in the space. And I think too often people are guilty of being lazy and not, you know, and it hurts them financially, you know? So yeah. Hey, Clay the mother effing great. What is up? And Drew is right. Smash that like. Make sure you follow Bill Noble as well. It has been too long. All right, so Bill, let's talk a little bit about some opportunities in the space. Let's see, what time is it? It's 1:38. Let me talk about a couple mailbox money things real quick, and then we'll dive into some fun meme coin stuff to kind of end out the show. So when I talk about mailbox money, I'm looking at the opportunities that are at hand that allow me to make a decision on the front end and not have to do a lot of work on the back end, and money just shows up. One of them that I love to talk about because it's near and dear to my heart because it's making me a lot of money is crypto mining. How does it work, right? It's just using computer hardware to solve these complex mathematical problems, right, on the blockchain. You earn crypto rewards from doing this, right? The benefit is once that initial setup and your mining rigs are operational, you have that steady stream of income with minimal effort. All right. Now, there is monitoring the system. There's occasionally upgrading repaired hardware, etc. But the reality is you can pay somebody to do that. And if you know what your expenses look like in terms of what your power output is, you know how much you put in on the front end for the actual machines, and you have a secure spot that you can put said miners or with somebody like myself as an example. I'm not trying to shill my own, mining farms, but I'm just saying, right, that now what do? Nothing. You just say, hey, Keeper, what day are we getting paid this month? And I say, oh, well, it's Caspa. You get paid on the 2nd of every single month. And you just open up your wallet and you're like, damn, that was cool, right? And ultimately, not only are you holding an asset that has the that you're getting the appreciation from, but you can expand and grow on that. And I talk about this a lot. If you are buying or you are mining, I should say, and you spend 10 grand on a rig, right? And the price of the asset goes to the point where you've got the asset paid off. Now you have a mining rig that is literally a money printer for you. You take the same amount of money that you had before. Now you have 2 rigs working for you to pay off the next single rig, and then 4, and then 8, right? That opportunity is there. And when this price action takes off for Caspa in particular, we're at like 12 cents, I think right now. It might have even dropped from there yesterday or whatever. I'm going to tell you right now, people are saying that I'm not being bullish enough by saying that it's going to $1. A lot of people are talking about a lot higher numbers than that. And when you've been sitting on and mining and accumulating, and you're able to have some patience, that mailbox money is going to end up being huge. Bill, have you ever done any mining, by the way?
I did helium back in the day. I did helium when I lived in San Antonio.
Okay.
That actually worked out very well. I mean, it wasn't huge money, but obviously if you were mining it, when it was at 15 cents or 30 cents, I think it wound up going to 60.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just sits. I've got one in front of me right now. It just sits in the freaking window or wherever you put it. And it just does its thing, right?
Right.
So mining is one of those things that I definitely think that people could take advantage of. It does take some capital on the front end, depending on what you're mining. Bitcoin mining is not nearly as profitable now as like Caspa mining, but the Caspa mining machines are a lot more expensive, can be a little bit more finicky, etc. Second one, staking. So Bill, I'm going to have you talk on this one. I have been somebody so staking, basically, you're just holding your crypto to support operations of a blockchain. That's what you're doing, right? The effort is minimal, right? You just keep the wallet running, right? The returns are generated in the form of additional coins that are on the network, right? Proportional to the amount that you have staked. So that's just passive income by doing what? Just holding and locking up coins. I have stayed away a lot of times from staking myself. I don't know how you feel about this, but it's been something that I felt like I've had to put and sit and lock on a platform and not have access to the liquidity when and if I need it. So I've stayed away from it. However, I do know that there's a lot of people making a lot of money on staking. Is staking something that you have dove into in the past, Bill? Is it something that you actively engage in now?
Okay, I'm actually looking at staking one particular coin as it relates to politics. I have done staking before, but here's what I'll tell you about staking. If you're staking something, you better believe in it. In other words, or conversely, to be more positive, if you really believe in something and you're like, okay, I'm not selling this, stake it. Right now, the thing about staking is, once that money goes in there, it goes into cold storage. It can take you 5 days to get it out. That's kind of universal. Right. But again, if you start staking when the market is down, if the market turns around and goes back up again, all of a sudden you've like multiplied your holdings doing nothing.
Doing nothing.
doing nothing. But I mean,
Yep.
and you're actually supporting the protocol
Yep.
in one way or the other, plus pulling supply off the market. So, yeah, I like the idea if you believe in it, right?
They're one of my channel sponsors, VALINITY, has a protocol. I talked to you about it. I don't know if you've heard about it, but ultimately, to make it really simple, you create VALINITY tokens by buying them with Ethereum, and they are backed by Ethereum. The only way to create the token is through buying Ethereum, and then when the transaction fees, etc., happen, it burns an amount of VALINITY. The cool thing is, you then reverse stake that VALINITY, and you now have access back to the funds that you have sitting there as the VALINITY grows. So it gives you access to your ETH. Now, this is something I am participating in. I have access to my Ethereum. It's growing the amount of VALINITY, and it's this cyclical thing that's happening, and it's really freaking cool. There's some new protocols and things coming out like that I love, and you can call it what you want. It's a shameless plug, but I'm going to tell you right now, this is something that I genuinely believe in, where I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and I'm actively engaging in that. I'll have to talk to you about that off stream, Bill, but it's actually really freaking cool, the protocol and how it works. And so I think that there's a lot of new tech stuff that's coming out that is giving people opportunities as well. Yield farming, I don't want to dive into that one too much. Ultimately, you're using DeFi. You got to be kind of savvy on DeFi to really do a good job of supporting the liquidity pools that earn you the income, but there's a lot of risk involved in that. So that would be another option. Some of these companies pay crypto dividends, but I want to talk to you about Deepin. Talk to me about Deepin, Bill, because I think this is an opportunity along with real world assets that people might not be paying enough attention to. Talk to me about that.
Okay, with Deepin, you really have to dive into, I think, how's AI going to work now and long term?
Okay.
In my opinion, these companies, they've already got Skynet. They've got the software.
Yeah.
But what they don't have is the hardware and the electric power, right? Electric power demand to run all these things that they're going to build is off the charts. So they've got to get on what, not in a negative way, like the AI machine that's being built across all the world has got to borrow computing power from everywhere, right? And I mean, I remember when Render first came out, it was kind of a metaverse play. Now it's kind of borrow your hardware. So, the guy
is it cloud mining effectively? I mean, is that what's happening there?
I think they're actually using your hardware.
They're actually using your hardware. So like when I cloud mine, I'm just basically saying, hey, Keeper's got the mining farm here. I'm going to pay him. He's going to earn some yield off of my stuff. I'm using his hardware. I don't have to own the hardware. You're saying that they're actually utilizing your personal hardware.
In some cases, yes. Right. You're lending them computing power. Right. And that's how I understand it. And that's either the case with Render or in other cases. But the constraint, like, for example, one big head of a tech company wants to build he wants $7 trillion in chips, just chips, right? So
7 trillion with a T?
With a T. He wants to do 7 trillion. In other words, whatever NVIDIA is doing isn't big enough for what he has planned. So, I mean, between now and 7 trillion of chips, they're going to need to borrow people's computing power and their electricity.
Who is this?
The computing power. Well, that was head of the guy's first name is Sam, right? From Chat.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
That guy.
Yeah.
Right. So, that guy wanted to do, they need huge amounts. They need hardware.
Yeah.
If they had the hardware, they could probably deploy artificial general intelligence today. The bottom line is, the demand for hardware and power is insatiable.
So if you're able to provide, if it's kind of the idea with the real world assets too, it's like, hey, I can take an asset, right? Doesn't matter if it's actually mine or not. I can offer an incentive for you to use what you're already using anyway. You're paying out some extra power. You're utilizing your actual hardware. The network is going to make money. You're going to make money. And ultimately what people can do in large numbers, it's very hard for a centralized entity to be able to do by themselves, right?
That's correct. And like things like Helium or Hive Mapper, they're really fun in the beginning, but you don't know where that stuff is in 2 or 3 years, honestly.
Yeah.
Right. But with this, you know, Deepin stuff with the power demand and AI, I mean, that's up. The demand for that stuff is up only into 2030.
Yeah. And 2030, as many of you know, is my my old fashioned on a beach year. I am looking forward to having the ability, if I wanted to kick my feet up at that point, even though I know I won't. Crypto fam, smash the like if you haven't already. As a reminder, jump on, check out Bill Noble, Crypto Noble. I've got his link down below the stream. I'm also going to put out his Patreon as well. So if you guys are looking to be able to talk about, see, dive deep, whatever, some things that maybe aren't as YouTube friendly, some of the conversations we'd really love to have, you can definitely check it out over there. So make sure to do that. All right, let me shift gears a little bit. I'm going to start off with my personal, this is my baby. People have heard me talk about this. Let's talk about the meme coin space, but specifically why the political meme coin space, why we think it's an opportunity, right? So I'm going to start with this. We see one of the most polarizing things that people can talk about ever right now is politics, right? It used to be that your parents would say, hey, you don't talk about politics or religion at dinner or whatever, right? But the reality was, at least back in my day, so I'm 39 years old, I'll be 40 in a couple of weeks. Good God. Yeah, literally less than 2 weeks. Back in my day, you could have the conversation. You'd have disagreements and people would throw little jabs and whatever. We're at a point in time where people want to freaking take each other's heads off for disagreeing on who they like for an election or whatever, right? And I think a lot of that has been created by social media. I think a lot of it is engineered to do exactly that, to keep us divided. Because if we can all get on the same page, whereas I do think a lot of people are starting to wake up. However, if they can get enough of us, I think it's part of why they want to shut down TikTok. They don't want all of these people having this place where the true information or where people can rally together to be able to push a certain narrative. Now, over to crypto. You've got the meme coin space. The memes ultimately drive off of a narrative. If you haven't understood anything from meme coins, what you need to understand is it is marketing and narrative. And if there is a narrative at hand that is playing well in the space and it is marketed correctly, it will likely do very well. So now we're talking about the most polarizing thing, which gets the most attention on planet Earth right now, probably in politics. So why would you not be paying attention to politics? I'm going to show you one right now. And I drew this a while ago, but I'm going to pull this up. So this is my baby. This is Tonald. This is on Ton. Okay. This is Tonald. Okay. Ultimately, we are at $850,000 market cap. Okay, it's been as high as like 1.8 million. It's been as low as who knows. I mean, I don't even know like what right when it first started. But the reality is, there's a number of really cool things happening. And if you want to go to tonald.vip, I think that's actually right. No, that's TonViewer. Do I have Tonald pulled up here? I thought I had it pulled up. I don't right now. Okay. But it's tonald.vip. You can go on there and learn like how to buy it, how to check it out. This is not the point of this is not to be able to shield Tonald directly. What I'm telling you is that we have a Donald Trump impersonator in the Telegram, and you can ask him questions and he will voice record a response to what you're asking him sounding. And I'm telling you, Bill, he is spot on. It is so freaking good. He comes on and he does the Twitter spaces, right? We are donating money. I'm part of this, by the way. I'm part of this token, part of the team. We are donating money to the Donald Trump campaign. We are ultimately like selling some things and giving money to veterans. Like there's a lot of things that are happening, and it has the narrative and surrounds Donald Trump. And it's on Ton, which is, like we said, this emerging blast off asset that's going to do wildly crazy things. And I think people aren't giving enough credit. So that's my big, plug on kind of the idea behind memes. I know that you have a lot of stuff that you have going on too. What specifically is it that for you makes you, I know you like politics, but why the meme coins and politics for you, Bill? Is there anything in particular that you really have your eye on, or what do you got going on there?
Okay, so there's catalysts. That's what you need in anything. You got RFK at a convention in May. You got the Republicans in July and the Democrats in August. You got 3 conventions. And then I also have, Fed rate policy theories at that time. So you got some speculative juice there.
Oh, yeah.
Now, terms of your vote in the world. Who knows if your vote counts? But you got to consider the catalysts for the coins.
Yeah.
You know, there are certain coins like Bowden. It's not my favorite.
Oh, I hold that on
right?
base. On base.
No, I think Bowden is Solana.
Oh, is Bowden Solana? I've got it. I literally have it pulled up right here. Is that Solana?
The thing about Bowden is, okay, it's interesting, but you got to watch out. Like I watched something called.
Oh, I've got Bowden on base. On base.
Oh, base. Okay.
I have it on base, but at any of it, continue.
And then there's something called. I'm looking for any potential Democratic challengers like Gavin Newsom from California.
Okay.
Now, being from Texas, I have a hard time seeing the marketability of somebody from California, but you never know with that side of the spectrum. You know, I'm actually watching for somebody launching a coin of him because he could potentially replace the current leader as a candidate. That's one. Two, there's, of course, you know, the man. Some guys call him the king. Some guys like him. Some guys hate him.
Yeah.
The point is, you know, he's got a coin that's worth 250 million. If he actually beats the court cases and wins the election, which is not a given, but if he actually does that,
yeah,
I don't know, man. He could go on a digital Mount Rushmore. Now, you know, that token can go up a lot, but the counterpoint on that is, you know, if anyone's going to monetize Donald, it's going to be Donald, right? He's going to do sneakers or Truth Social stock or whatever, but that's not to discount the fact that, you know, people may want a piece of that, like a digital souvenir, right? And anything from Donald to the big Trump token, you know, it could be something that goes in a wallet. Maybe you sell some of it, but maybe you also keep it as a collectible. Who knows? Or maybe he has something where you can pay for NFTs with that coin. Yeah. So there's obvious upside there, but I don't know that I would call it asymmetric upside where you can get like a 50x. They're
one-offs, right, Bill? They're like I was talking to you about this before the stream. For me, it's either dust or moon dust. I'm either literally the money that I'm putting into these specifically, guys, and I want to be really clear. It is not financial advice to get into freaking meme coins, okay? Not even kind of. This is the casino side of crypto. And in said casino, if I walk into a casino in Vegas, for me personally, if I walk in with money, I'm prepared to walk out without that money, okay? Same thing here for me. If I put money into the meme coin casino, it is money that I am genuinely prepared to lose. Not just like, hey, yeah, I can lose it, but I'm going to be super stressed. Like, no, I'm ready to lose it, okay? But I've seen things go from absolutely mid to, okay, it's doing good, to damn near nothing. One in particular recently, and then back up to 15 or 20x what it originally was from the start. And that's what we see. Listen, you can't chart these things. I don't care what anybody says. You're not going to chart the majority. Now, maybe Pepe at this point because it's gotten so big. Maybe Whiff because it's got whatever. Maybe you can chart some of those. But what Bill and I are talking about, like Bill said, is catalyst type events. Things that are marketed correctly. Things that are actually like just on the what's the word I'm looking for? Just kind of like they're like one of those things that all of a sudden grabs everybody's attention all at once, gets pushed through X, gets pushed through Telegram, gets pushed everywhere, and they take off, right? You can't really prepare for that. So I do want to stress, if you guys are playing in these, please keep a moon bag. I've learned my lesson on not doing that. And I've looked back at a few that I will not even look at anymore, that I held and I took all of the profits and did not keep a moon bag. And I regretted that like tremendously. So I'm a big fan of them, dude. I used to hate meme coins, but I think that there's such a people want to get in the casino. People like the idea of politics. They're ultimately like they like it. So why would you not at least maybe put a little something aside and give it a
I mean
give it a go, give it a shot.
For me it's RFK. Right. There's
RFK. It's RFK. There's like an RFK token, you're saying?
Yeah, there's RFKJ, which is like 20 million market cap. And there's Keenity, which
RFKJ. And what's that on?
They actually had that on ETH and Solana and Base.
Okay, I'm looking at it on ETH right now.
And then
it looks like Yeah. Okay. I see.
Maybe a cup and handle. And then there's Keenity, which is, Keenity, Tremp, and Bowden are all the silly tokens. And of course, Keenity does a great job of poking fun at the fact that RFK is super buff. Like it's kind of funny.
He is. He's freaking savage. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, I mean, if that guy, if it was ever a legitimate three-way race,
yeah.
If you had legitimate candidates or all three, technically, dude, like if you're looking for a crazy 100X, which I am, and everyone is, I was like, that could be the upset of the century. Right.
Yeah.
So
no doubt.
So that's my casino play.
Okay.
Right? Because it's basically right now, it's way out of consensus.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, speaking of consensus, you live down there. Because of my daughter's birthday, I will only be there for a short amount of time, but I did want to ask, you're going to be there? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay, cool. I'll definitely be, I'm only going to be there for probably 2 days. I really need to go down more than anything to watch my boy J Chain's fight. I'm really looking forward to that. He's fighting. I don't know if you know this or not, but he is fighting the guy, Billy, is his name Billy McFarland from the Fire Fest or whatever? The guy that screwed everybody out of all the Fire Festival money years ago. I don't know if do you know who I'm talking about or no?
I don't, but I do have a fight ticket.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. So, dude, Bill, it has been fantastic catching up with you. First of all, we need to talk off stage about figuring out doing this more often. I appreciate you for coming on. Crypto fam, check out Bill Noble if you're not already. Make sure to check out not only his YouTube, not only his X platform, but also his Patreon. Bill, I appreciate you. You got anything else that you want to leave the people with before we sign off?
Yeah, man, stay with this channel, stay with Keep. I'm willing to do this. I can probably go back and do this weekly. Always get information from people that you trust.
Yeah.
Patreon is patreon.com/unhinged crypto. Please consider it.
Yeah. I appreciate you, Bill. Crypto fam, you could have been anywhere on a Friday, but you're hanging out with your boys. We love you. We appreciate you. Question everything. Trust nothing except for your boy CryptoKeeper. And until next time, huddle like it's hot. We'll see you soon.